This is a production of PBS Charlotte.
Just ahead on Carolina Impact, this Statesville distillery switched from making whiskey. Find out what they're doing to help during this pandemic.
A TV news producer's world adventure gets cut short by COVID-19. But there's a lot more to this story. I'm Todd Wallace, and I'll explain coming up.
And vacuum cleaners fascinated him since he was a toddler. Wait until you meet the young man who'll probably change the way we clean one day. Carolina Impact starts right now.
Carolina Impact, covering the issues, people, and places that impact you. This is Carolina Impact.
Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Amy Burkett. The coronavirus restrictions are keeping most of us from doing ordinary things, like going to work, going to school, or going to a ball game. But it's also inspiring some of us to do extraordinary things, going the extra mile and helping others. And that's the story we find in Statesville this week, where a local distillery owner decided to temporarily give up his profitable beverage business so he can supply hand sanitizer to first responders instead and provide jobs for local workers who've been laid off. Carolina Impact's Jeff Saunier joins us from Iredell County with more.
Yeah, you know, there's a country music lyric that goes, rain makes corn, corn makes whiskey.
Rain makes corn makes whiskey.
Well, it turns out that during the coronavirus crisis, that same recipe, rain, corn, whiskey, makes a pretty good hand sanitizer, too. Usually they bottle and barrel bourbon here at Southern Distilling in Statesville. Carolina craft bourbons, gold medal winners, you know, the good stuff.
We'll make their bourbon, we'll age their bourbon. We've got several award-winning bourbons that are out in the market right now.
But Pete Barger says for now his whiskey will have to wait, as Southern's owner turns his tasting room, his 40-foot-tall column still, and his entire distillery into Hand Sanitizer Central.
We're not filling barrels of bourbon and rye whiskey anymore. We're now switching all of that, and did switch all of that over to hand sanitizer production. There is a great demand for that right now.
So you've tripled your output, you've doubled your workforce in a matter of weeks.
2 weeks.
Wow, most companies can't turn on a dime like that.
We're nimble.
Yeah.
And we don't sleep. So we pretty much, camped out here. So here we are, we're cranking out now, I think 15,000 bottles a day of hand sanitizer and have capacity to do a lot more than that.
Barger shows us the 3 new 15,000-gallon fermentation tanks up and running 2 months early to keep up with all the orders for hand sanitizer they're taking. All the cases of hand sanitizer they're making and sending out by the truckload.
Right now, those trucks are they're going across the nation. So we sent out, I think, I can't remember, 100 cases to the city of Irvine, California Police Department yesterday. So we prioritized this so that we would take care of first responders and healthcare, elder care first, and then everybody else would kind of drop in. So I think we've gotten the majority of the first responder needs taken care of at this point.
The distillery is also taking care of Statesville's local need for jobs during all the coronavirus layoffs.
I labeled the hand sanitizer bottles. Put the bottle in here, hit the foot pedal, and the sticker rolls onto the bottle.
Yeah. How many bottles?
We do about 4,000 a shift, sometimes more than that.
That's a lot of bottles of hand sanitizer.
Oh, yeah.
Amber HOLBROOK says the 7-day shifts making sanitizer help her make up for the lost hours at HOLBROOK's restaurant shop.
I work at Captain's Galley, and with everything that's been shut down, the restaurant business has slowed down tremendously. I work in to-goes. We've cut down to 3 days a week.
And how busy has it been here?
Non-stop, 7 days a week. Knowing that you're helping in this pandemic sounds kind of crazy, but it's just a sense of pride.
This is not glamorous work, but again, the majority of those folks that we brought on board to help with the bottling line, most of those folks were displaced service workers, and they're really happy. Even though it's not glamorous and it doesn't pay great, they're happy to have something to do. And frankly, I think that they're proud to be contributing, to the fight that we're all in right now. I'm really proud of this crew. You know, as I told you earlier, it's like, I don't know a lot of these people, but I know their spirit and their heart, and it's great to see how hard they're working.
Barger adds that his all-local distillery suppliers are also staying busy.
We're fortunate that most of our vendors are here in North Carolina. So our box manufacturer, our label manufacturers out of High Point. I was just talking with our label manufacturer, you know, I said, you know, we knew that we were going to build a business together, but we never thought we'd be buying 500,000 labels for hand sanitizer from you, did you? So, but that's kind of where we are.
Same story for corn, which the distillery uses to make all that alcohol for hand sanitizer, up to 30,000 pounds of corn a day.
They've been a good customer. It's a new market for the corn.
Trent Cloninger's family has been farming this land for 3 generations, planting corn rows in this rye field, seeding for this year's corn crop, and storing thousands of pounds of corn from last year's crop in these huge steel silos, which is exactly what Southern Distilling needs right now. All the corn it can get from Cloninger, all the corn he can stow and grow. You ever thought you'd be growing corn for hand sanitizer?
No, never did.
Feel like you're doing your part a little bit?
Well, I guess so. They don't have a lot of storage at the capacity they're running right now. They probably have less than a week's storage. So they need a supplier that can haul it to them exactly when they need it.
That's you?
That's me.
It's a little wild, wild west. You know, it's not business as usual. You do what you got to do. But again, this is something that we could do, something we felt we needed to do and should do. So we're just going to keep cranking.
Pete Barger adds, not exactly sure when his hand sanitizer business will transform back into the bourbon whiskey business, but either way, just down the road, there's plenty of corn here waiting for him. Amy?
Thanks so much, Jeff. The distillery owner adds that they could be making even more hand sanitizer with new high-speed bottling system that fills 200 bottles a minute. Only problem is that new equipment is stuck in a warehouse that's shut down because of the coronavirus. You can find out more about Southern Distilling on our website at pbscharlotte.org. While unemployment is at an all-time high in our area, a new program for high schoolers who want to explore careers in technology offers an opportunity to get experience and cash. It's called Youth Technology Apprenticeship Camp, or YTAC. It's for high schoolers who want a tech career without going to a four-year college. Carolina FinTech Hub's Tark Bokhari, also a Charlotte City Councilman, joins us with details. Tark, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Help us understand what this new program is all about.
Early on in the Carolina FinTech Hub, we had been really playing around with programs for workforce development, particularly those designed to help those in need of upward mobility. We had always wanted to drop down into the youth market, particularly across our high school system. And it had been on our to-do list, and our partners over at the CELC approached us a couple months ago and said, hey, would you like to do something together? And maybe this summer. And we said, absolutely. And we started designing it out. And ultimately, we came up with a first of its kind program where we took esports, something really hot that a lot of the kids right now are doing on their own in their own spare time. And we built a connection between that to STEM learning and ultimately coding and careers in technology. And that was our plan, to basically roll that out this summer for the first time to folks that maybe weren't planning all of them to go to a four-year university, but would be predisposed to be good at this kind of work. And then COVID-19 happened. And instead of saying, maybe we put that off, we actually said, let's get more aggressive and let's bring it up in timeline now that these high school seniors are really struggling with filling their days with meaningful work. And let's do it remotely and really kind of jump in here and lean in and help our community in this great time of need.
Now, Tark, you mentioned that this was in partnership with the CELC. For folks who don't know what those letters stand for, it's the Charlotte Executive Leadership Council. And so students will be paid for this work, and how much?
Thanks to the CELC's partnership, as well as Bank of America, these students are going to, from the comfort of their own home, play video games, and they're going to be paid $10 an hour to do so during this month-long YTAC camp. And if that sounds too good to be true, for a lot of these folks, it kind of seems like it is. But the beauty of all of this is they'll realize through this program, while they're being paid, that the things they already love to do have so many elements of technology and coding and development in them that they'll suddenly see, oh, this is how that works when I play this. And ultimately, at the end, they'll see those skills are transferable, whether it's to banking and fintech or energy or healthcare or the list goes on and on.
Let's talk about how many students will have this opportunity. Are you starting out small and then hoping to ramp up later?
So yes, and the crazy thing is we're building this plane while we're flying it. And that's just a really important time and a theme in these times of COVID-19 where it's time to innovate. It's not time to put head in the sand and figure out things later when it all passes. It's time to lean in and find solutions for new problems that exist. So with that being said, right now we're funded and equipped starting next week to take on 20 students, but demand has been off the charts right now. We've had almost 300 apply in a 1-week period that we announced it. It was open. So the demand has been an incredible surprise. And right now we're trying to figure out if we can take a few more this go around, but also can we start and launch a second cohort the month after for this great demand that's out there. So we're going to start small and get bigger, but I'm not sure necessarily that we're going to end up with 20. We might be able to find more funding to get more.
That's exciting, and it sounds like you already have a lot of people who've applied, but perhaps if other people are interested, how could they apply?
So the application process closes this Friday for now, but they can go to carolinafintechhub.org/YTAC, YTAC.
Now, there's another program called WIN that might be in the works down the road. Help us understand what that's all about.
Well, WIN is actually something that's been around for the last 2 years. It's the Workforce Investment Network. And this is kind of where we started playing in this space, where it's not designed for youth primarily. We have people from 19 years old to 50 years old that have participated, but it's a program that's designed to find those with high aptitude to be good at coding, at technology careers, but perhaps they're due to the fact that they're in the bottom quintile of poverty right now in need of upward mobility, the doors haven't been opened for them to go to a 4-year college or university or to get the experience in becoming that type of role, that type of expert. We're able to identify them through a rigorous artificial intelligence aptitude assessment we do. And we bring them into a 6-month program where we teach them how to become a full stack developer. And from our partners across Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Ally, Truist, EY, then the list goes on, all of those great folks guarantee them jobs as long as they make it through the program. So we're in cohort number 2 right now with the WIN program. And like everything in the world, upward mobility does not go away no matter what the crisis is. In fact, it gets worse. So during this COVID-19 time, we've actually had to switch them to all remote and all digital learning experience. So they're getting paid right now to learn. And when they're done, they're going to continue on in their jobs, making $55,000 a year and really starting the beginning of a good career.
What an exciting program. And sometimes they say necessity is the greatest invention. Thank you so much for innovating during these difficult times and providing opportunities for folks in our region. Tark Bakari, we appreciate all that you do for our community.
Thank you.
When you have a big milestone birthday like turning 50, there are all kinds of ways to celebrate. Our next story introduces us to a woman who wanted to celebrate her 50 years by going to 50 places she's never been before. As she says, why should millionaires and millennials be the only ones to see the world? Carolina Impact's TODD Wallace shares the story of my friend, Allison Andrews.
Everyone deserves a dream of their own. Mine is going to 50 places I've never been the year I turned 50. Kind of crazy, right?
Allison Andrews had no idea just how crazy her plan to celebrate her 50th year was about to get. COVID-19 turned her travel adventure upside down. Ironically, life's unexpected changes were what started the project in the first place.
I was getting a divorce after 23 years of marriage. I had a daughter that was becoming a teenager, and I was staring down the road at 50. And that is a lot all at once.
Mile Marker 50 is about embracing the mile markers that profoundly shape the way we see the world. Allison says what matters most is how you choose to rise above them.
Mile Marker 50 was really a way for me to set my sights on a new future, to give myself a healthy distraction from kind of the chaos that was in my life, and to feel like I had a little bit of control at a time when I didn't have much.
She decided to document the experience, starting with her first trip in January with her 15-year-old daughter, Sydney.
12 hours, I am down to 12 hours, and we will know where we're going.
For this initial trip, the television news producer let someone else do the producing. Pack Up and Go is a surprise travel agency that plans 3-day weekend trips around the United States.
Pack up and go. Burlington!
Everything we read and everyone we talked to recommended Church Street. It's a totally fun place to shop.
Trip number 2 to Key West, Florida was one of her favorites so far.
So we were driving down to Key West. Look what we found.
It's the first time Allison, her 4 sisters, and mom have been together by themselves in 9 years.
And this back here, I can't even believe they're being this quiet. Okay, that is more like it.
Some trips were to iconic destinations, while others were off the beaten path.
Are going to the happening town of Tullahoma, Tennessee. What? Tullahoma!
The Palm Springs aerial tramway is supposed to have the best view of the Coachella Valley. We're about to find out. Everything about Joshua Tree is unexpected. There's a little weird around every corner. And I've been really moved at how many strangers we've met and how many other stories we've heard of what brings people to where they are.
Learning about herself along the way.
To be present, to be, to really make sure that you appreciate every moment for what it is, because we never know when those moments are going to change.
So when Allison, her daughter, and goddaughter headed for spring break in Paris, Allison thought she was ready for the impact of the coronavirus.
Just in case. You know, it was kind of the early rumblings of the coronavirus in the U.S. So we traveled with a lot of precautions. I mean, I had a backpack full of handy wipes, Lysol wipes.
The trio explored Paris's most well-known landmarks before heading to Geneva for a few days. But no amount of planning or precaution could prepare them for what came next.
About 2 o'clock in the morning, my phone started going off.
Urgent pleas to come home.
And there were probably 30 messages from friends and family.
President Donald Trump had announced new travel restrictions.
And literally overnight, Allison's dream adventure to travel around the world instead turned into a frantic rush to get home. Allison says her skills as a television news producer took over. This really was breaking news, and she and the girls were all a part of it.
Kind of what kicks in for me is put your head down and go. You got to get through it, and you can't think about it. And then it became logistically, I've got to find tickets. Okay, I'm gonna let the girls sleep. I got to wake them up at 5:30. How do we get to the airport?
After several tense hours that felt more like days, Allison and her family were safely back home.
The plane landed in Atlanta. I could just feel it through my body. I was like, oh, okay, I can breathe. We're home. It is a reminder, if I can do this, I can take whatever life throws at me. And I can find joy in my new normal and in this next chapter.
Turbulence in life affects everyone. Allison Andrews can tell you the most important lesson in life's journey is how you land. For Carolina Impact, I'm Todd Wallace reporting.
I love that story. She's a special woman for sure. Allison traveled to 8 places so far and plans to hit the road again once restrictions are lifted, at least domestically. Congratulations, Allison, on making it a year to remember. Well, the Charlotte Symphony Orchestra musicians continue to give us inspiration from home. Here are cellist Sarah Markle and her husband, bassist TODD's chorus. Thanks so much to the Charlotte Symphony for that inspiration. Well, we have another story about inspiration and passion that will surprise you. Imagine seeing a toddler fascinated by, of all things, vacuum cleaners. Well, that toddler is now 18 and headed to Purdue University to study engineering. Carolina Impact's Doug Stacker and Jason TERZIS has the story of this remarkable young man's unwavering focus.
He's extremely innovative, very intelligent.
Engineering, electrical, he understands those things.
It's heart, soul, everything about it. He's just loves them.
It's the one question Tyler Sheets gets asked more than any other.
That's the first question someone always asks me is, where did it start? Where did it start? And I have no idea.
It's $1 million question.
About the origin of his unique fascination.
I've been doing it for so long, it's like something that's come natural to me.
Something about vacuum cleaners.
Here's the Hoover Jr.
The vacuum cleaner. For generations, something most of us have to use. One of those required necessities of life.
Only Hoover has this combined brush and beater.
But for Tyler, it's a passion. Always has been.
I feel like it's something that I was meant to be. I was born to be able to do this.
When he was just a baby, Betty Jean Sheets gave her son his very first vacuum, a plastic toy model.
This was the original vacuum cleaner that he got when he was 14, maybe 15 months old.
Little did Betty Jean know, a seed was planted.
That night, I couldn't get him to go to sleep, and when I finally got him to lay down, this actually went to bed with him in his crib.
Whether it was the look or the sound, or how it worked, there was just something about the vacuum that captivated Tyler.
I have like vague memories of like when I was really little and like sitting on the couch, like hanging over the edge of the couch, like watching my mom vacuum.
From working on them as a baby with his grandfather, to the homemade costume he wore for Halloween, Tyler's passion only grew.
When he was little, I used to drive him around to vacuum stores.
He immersed himself in all things vacuums, learning all the makes and models.
I remember at the age of probably 6, 7 years old, somebody could show him a picture of a vacuum cleaner and he would know the model number of it.
I was constantly on YouTube reading forums, figuring out diagrams and everything, watching videos of people tearing apart things and then trying it myself.
People were like, he doesn't want to go outside and play. He would rather just sit and do research and learn about vacuum cleaners.
Ultimately, Tyler started his own vacuum cleaner collection. His bedroom is filled with them.
So in my room primarily I have my Phantoms.
His closet too.
In here I have more of my phantoms, and then I have all my rainbows that are underneath all of my clothes underneath here.
Another closet off his bedroom is also packed.
And then all of my Kirby's. There's 2 rows of Kirby's going all the way down this whole room.
So too is the storage closet.
All my 90s Dirt Devils.
Some of the real gems, though, get prominent placing in his room.
This Electrolux right here is Electrolux's first upright. It was given to me by a collector. In all, between all my different rooms, I have about 275 vacuum cleaners.
Yeah, you heard right. Tyler owns roughly 275 vacuum cleaners, give or take a few.
I would rather him do this than stuff that other kids do.
Mom Betty Jean is quite supportive of her son's obsession.
This is a clear rainbow made for a dealer.
Even for his recent 18th birthday, Tyler got a vacuum-themed cake.
And I'm a firm believer, if you're passionate about something, don't be ashamed of it. Be proud of it, own it.
One day he just walks in the door.
When he was just 10, Tyler started going to A1 Vacuum Solutions in Huntersville.
Where's your mom? Oh no, she just dropped me off today. Customer comes in, so I get pulled away. Go back in the repair room. Little Tyler's halfway through with the repair already.
It should come as no surprise that Tyler now works there.
If someone just turns on a vacuum cleaner, I can tell you what's wrong with it right off the bat.
Tyler's 18 years old with 30 years experience in the vacuum industry.
Every time I'm fixing something, I make sure every single little thing is perfect.
He understands the sales and marketing. He understands the manufacturing and design.
Tyler does have other interests, running cross-country at South Rowan High School, and with his attention to detail, it should come as no surprise that he's also good in the classroom.
I'm second in my class.
And really good with numbers and creative projects.
He is definitely a unique teenager.
He's been accepted to his dream school, the engineering program at Purdue University.
I've said it since he was probably 6, 7 years old. He's going to be an engineer.
I see a large career for him ahead in engineering, probably more in the mechanical piece. I think he'd be really good with that.
Tyler's ultimate dream?
I want to build the perfect vacuum cleaner.
Because believe it or not, he says it currently doesn't exist.
Because there's flaws in every single brand.
It's been said that the best things to collect in life are the ones where you actually enjoy the process of building the collection. I think it's pretty safe to say Tyler Sheets is getting as much enjoyment out of his collection as humanly possible. For Carolina Impact, I'm Jason TERZIS reporting.
Thanks so much, Doug and Jason. Can you guess what Tyler gets every year for Christmas? I knew you could guess it. A vacuum cleaner. He can take it apart, study it, and try to put it back together. Well, that's all the time we have for you this evening. We always appreciate your time, and we look forward to seeing you back here again next time on Carolina Impact. Good night, my friends.
A production of PBS Charlotte.